I suck at Jiu-Jitsu. How do I suck less at Jiu-Jitsu?
I guess to suck less.
Ladies and gentlemen, the diabolical leader of the Headlock Squad.
All right, what do you got? First question.
First question was from a white belt, and I thought it was pretty funny. It says, "Can I actually tap to pressure, or is that really a sign of weakness?"
Oh, man. Let me ask you something, Bryce. Is this one of our white belts that asked this question?
No.
Okay, good. Okay. That really would have made things a lot worse. So people will tell you, no, you should never tap to pressure. And I think I don't know if I've ever said that. I know I've felt ridiculous pressure before. And I mean, with a lot of skill, struggled to not tap to it. So somebody who's new and has no defense, it makes sense to me to be like, yeah, you're gonna tap to pressure sometimes. It makes sometimes pressure is brutal. You're wore out, you can't breathe. I've never seen it, but I know Henry Akins has claimed to have like put people out with pressure. No choke, just pure, I don't know what you call that, asphyxiation.
Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say I don't know if anybody's actually passed out because of that. So I don't know. That's hard to say whether you should tap to pressure. I think, like you said, as a white belt, maybe you should, but maybe you should also eat it just because it builds. Yeah, it'll toughen you up.
It builds character a little bit.
Yeah, it'll get you. Yeah.
Okay, but let me ask you this: shouldn't you have to define the pressure? Because like shoulder pressure on chin, turning your head away, is hard on the spine. You know, you don't know how to turn with that. You don't know how to absorb that. That can be pretty rough, right? You know, like there are some that are a little bit dangerous. And okay, let me say this too. I have done a lot of pressure-based jiu-jitsu over the last few years. It's pretty much all I talk about. And I don't know, I would say that if you found me the right person, I could kill them with pressure. Like I could, right? Don't you think that?
I've definitely tapped to your pressure like a month ago.
See what I'm saying? Like I feel like, I do feel like you were eating it for a long time. You were, it was toughing you up, but there is a point of panic where it really does feel like I'm suffocating down here. Like everything's getting dark. And then if I don't tap to this and I do go unconscious, I'll probably just die down there,
Yeah, I was just in my head imagining that this was referring to, pressure, not like spinal, like chin or shoulder on the chin or anything, but yeah, just from like I don't know, Kesikatami or something, for example, or just some sort of crazy side control mount position that you get people in.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I think you should tap to pressure if it is tappable pressure. It's like most people aren't going to possess pressure that you would need to tap to be honest. But
no.
I've experienced pressure that, like, I've tapped to pressure as a black belt, I think. And that is
to who?
Dude, when I rolled with Dan Hart the first time, he put me in Kesikatami, and I started to like do the be relaxed, roll, whatever. And I'm like, hey, I can't get out of this. And it kept getting higher and higher. And I'll claim like, yeah, it was choking me, but I really don't think it was. I really felt like it was chest compression. But I was getting like every time I was trying to bridge and frame, I was going, hey, I think I'm about to go to sleep here. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. Honestly, I didn't tap to Murillo's pressure, but I really wanted to, but I wasn't there long enough. Like I had a long enough time to survive it. He was in mount. So that's 2 times at black belt. Technically, I did have a rib injury, but when I went with Yago D'Souza the second time, he got both hooks on my back, and I was belly down, and he was hipping in, and that was a pressure tap, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's 3 right there. Your hero has fallen, Bryce.
Wait, you didn't tap to the Murillo one though.
That's
right?
true. That's only 2. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm a man. You're right.
Yeah, that's okay.
But yeah, I think that it's not the pressure itself usually that gets you. It's the exhaustion. It is the exhaustion because it requires energy once you get completely flattened to escape a position. And it's kind of like, I don't know. It just it's gonna require some energy against a good person that's laying on top of you for you to start to get on your side to start to escape. And so I think no doubt you're gonna have to deal with if you get so tired that fight becomes hard and the other person isn't tired, you're probably just gonna be cooked, you know? Like when the time really goes, that is the match before I fought Murillo. He mounted a guy and pressure tapped him, and the guy cried. I'm not joking. I'm not laughing, Bryce. I swear to you. And I want you to imagine as a grown man with his students there watching another grown man cry after getting pressured by the guy that you're about to compete against. It was a nightmare. And yeah, would not recommend. I'd do it again, of course, but yeah, wouldn't recommend it for anybody else. Most jiu-jitsu gear feels like it was designed by someone who's never trained. And it smells like it was designed by someone who's never showered. That's why I use Datsusara. My gi, my backpack, my fanny pack, they are all made from hemp. It's ridiculously comfortable, it lasts forever, and it doesn't hold on to the stink of regret from last night's no-gi class. Even better, the gi is weirdly hard to grip. It's kind of like you're grappling while covered in butter. Don't ask me how I know what it feels like to grapple in butter. Instead, go to dsgear.com and use promo code ISUCK for 10% off. And you'll stop wearing gear that feels like a sweaty, stinky duffel bag and start wearing the coolest gear in jiu-jitsu. Check them out at dsgear.com.
I think that dealing with somebody that has good pressure can really turn like black belts and brown belts like back into white belts.
I
you know
totally
what I
agree
mean?
with that.
Like that, I've felt pressure from you, and then I told you about a time recently, Chris Hagnauer, several
my
weeks ago in our
gosh.
gym. He's really good at applying pressure to you. And
Let him start and smash half guard, dude. It'll ruin your life.
Yeah, I literally like went to like white belt, just natural human instincts, and just started freaking out. I was like, I need to do anything to get this dude off of me right now. And I could definitely, I think that like someone that can apply good pressure can turn high level belts back into white belts that don't know jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I think that is a perfect place to leave that one. I think that's a good answer, and the answer is, bro, you got good training partners, you're tapping to pressure. You know, like unless you're just better than them, you're gonna be eating some crazy pressure at times that you're exhausted, deep in training, sweaty, sweat in your face suffocating you, and you're gonna either die or you're gonna tap. And then hopefully you'll get better at not getting there, you know? Let's go next hot take. Do you got a good one?
I really don't. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to riff on this much, but one thing that I see all the time, especially recently, but I just think cartwheel passes are retarded, dude. I mean, it might be the most unuseful jiu-jitsu technique or just pass in the entire world. And maybe if you just like need the guy to like, I don't know, kind of flail out and like maybe freak out on bottom for a second, but I feel like any good guard player just stays tight together, moves with you, and you end up straight back into whatever open guard you were just in.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is, one of those things. Any move done at the perfect time works, right? But when is the perfect time that you get that space and that angle makes sense to do? Obviously, it requires a ton of athleticism too. If we lined up the class and said, "Hey guys, we're gonna do cartwheels today," you line up the adult class. Most of them aren't going to be able to do that, right? And so, yeah, I agree that it's not. I don't think I've ever been cartwheel passed in my life, and people have tried it on me for a very long time. And because I find that the best defense to the cartwheel pass is like, how when you rewatch the Karate Kid now, it's like, man, if do can defend and he runs face forward. Like that's the crane move is that he just runs with his face out forward. like, wait, what if he just punches you in the face? Why are you not covering that? In the cartwheel pass, you are not blocking your hips, which whether you're upside down, sideways, standing on your feet, if you were trying to move forward through someone's guard and they use their feet to touch your hips, they're going to stop you from moving forward in their guard. It's going to split you in half. You're going to have to deal with that. And your hands can no longer deal with that because they are planted on the ground while you're doing a gymnastics move,
And with that said, obviously, it's worked in high-level competition before, which is cool, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know, do you have any other, like, stupid guard passes that you could think of? Or just any stupid jiu-jitsu technique that you're like, man, why do people ever do that? If
you're not Hanato Kanuto, I don't think you should do a backflip guard pass either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or Andrew Tackett.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, when I competed against Hanato, I think he passed my guard twice.
Hell yeah.
But they were much simpler passes than a backflip pass. So at least out of that, but I've seen him hit some pretty good guys with that too. Again, the perfect move at the perfect time, the whatever move at the perfect time is going to work. It's just a lot of these moves, the perfect time is such a hard situation to create. And I think that's something that he's done on that backflip guard pass is like, one, he's used this athleticism, but it's also this timing of how he hits the legs, how he gets certain resistance to set him up to do that move,
I wish I was that athletic, man.
Bryce, you are that athletic, bro. I've seen you do much more athletic things than him.
We should start doing cartwheels as warm-ups.
Honestly, I would rather die.
Maybe then I could be that athletic.
Dude, it's so funny to think about the things that guys that started at Head Nod, especially the new gym Head Nod HQ, like things that they'll never experience. Mm-hmm. So like showing up and having 15 or 20 minutes of warm-ups that are not related to jiu-jitsu unless you plan on doing a cartwheel pass, And so that was like, I don't know, that was something that was really weird. That was something really weird coming up. This you just did that at every single school, and then I think some schools still do that kind of stuff to this day. Mm-hmm. But if you've never experienced it, you don't realize like, man, I wish somebody would say something. Like, we are all tired of doing this. This is 15 minutes of class, and we all suck at jiu-jitsu. We want to be better. Like, let's learn more stuff. And it was a rough time. And even as a young kid who could do the cartwheels and stuff, it still sucked. I didn't want to be doing that. And so, I'm not a fan.
Man, I remember there's been 2 times where I went and trained at other gyms, and they were one time I was besides the instructor, I was the highest ranking guy in the class at purple belt. And he was like, "Oh, can you lead warm-ups?" And I had to look at him and just be like, "Dude, I've never warmed up one time in my life. Besides another time, I was cross training at a gym, and
no.
we were just all in a very long line. And I wasn't leading warm ups, but I was the first person behind the person that was leading warm ups. And so I literally had the entire class just like so far behind, just because I literally could not shrimp like properly how they were up and down the mats.
Oh no, I screwed you over, Bryce.
Yeah.
It's like
But-
when they say we go to visit a different gym, and then like we're waiting around, everyone's talking, everything is exactly like it would be at our gym, and then they go, "All right, everybody, line up." And then I see like the 6 head nod guys that we have in the room, and they start panicking, and they're like, "Wait, are they lining up in order? Is this by age? Is this by weight? I don't understand. What are we doing?" And they're like, "Yeah, I didn't teach you guys that. We just start class, right?"
They're trying to get in line next to you, cutting off the other black belts.
Yep, but on the same note, because like I remember this happening with my wife and I going to visit gyms, and they would say line up, and she would look at me like standing next to me, and I'd be like, "Babe, no, you can't be here. No, get away. Our love is forbidden now." You know, like push her away. Yeah. And so, I remember doing that. But I also remember one time lining up at Vives's school and being lined up in the wrong space, and him grabbing me by the gi as a black belt and pulling me. I'm like, "Bro, I was standing next to this brown belt. I don't know. I thought that was where I was supposed to be."
Yeah, we were talking before class, man.
Yeah, that always gets you.
That's funny.
All right, I have one that I haven't hit you with yet. Here's the tough thing about my hot takes is you and I, like that are my actual ones, is you and I have driven thousands and thousands of miles together in cars. And so we've pretty much said most hot takes to each other, right? Yeah. But I got a new one, okay? And so it's this, that finishing triangle chokes is the hardest thing to teach in jiu-jitsu.
Ooh.
The hardest thing, period. Here is my proof of concept right here.
Okay.
More than half of the wins that I have in jiu-jitsu, total, not just submission wins, just all wins, are by triangle. And if you look at my content online, I have less stuff about the triangle than basically anything else. Like every other position, every other thing I have taught, but the triangle, which I should have the most expertise on because I've done the most of them in competition.
And you really don't teach it at the gym a lot.
I never teach it at the gym.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why don't, like, even at the gym? Why don't?
Bro, it's so hard to teach. One, because my hips are super flexible. Mm-hmm. And so in that specific position, it's allowed me to play in a way that is very specific to me, right? Most guys, even my height and weight, don't do a lot of triangles, right? No. Yeah. And so you like that is just, I think that a big part of it, that is hip flexibility. And I've gotten a lot better at teaching how to break people down and how to finish it and how to tie it in with arm locks, how to do other stuff like that. But the depth that it takes to actually get people good at finishing triangles it's so much time commitment, it feels like. There are so many scenarios and so many angles that are going to have to happen. And then there's so many times that the best move is to start to threaten something else. It's like start to abandon the triangle, right? Mm-hmm. And so, because think about when you started, and then like into blue belt, you were competing a lot and most of your wins were by triangle, but there were matches where you would hit triangles on certain guys that had really good defense, and they would do something, and it would, it was just a new defense that you had never experienced in the gym and you had never seen, and then we would have to work on that specific defense,
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like maybe it's just a hole in my teaching. Maybe some coach that's listening to the show is like, "Oh no, I can explain finishing the triangle in 3 steps and it's the simplest thing ever." But when you teach a room of people, like if somebody who came in and I could kind of like individualize something for them, I think I would be able to teach them a lot about the triangle in like an hour private, right?
Yeah.
But if I had to teach a seminar where we had to just go with everybody's leg length and size and flexibility and try to tie everything in and then try to add all these other submissions to some of the people who've never seen them, I just don't. I would rather teach how to pass every single guard in jiu-jitsu in a seminar.
Yeah, I mean, those seminars, do well. Your passing seminars for sure. Triangles are toughy because even if you start like a class of finishing the triangle from like you have maybe they're on their knees and you have a triangle locked up, there's still so many like and it's not fully locked triangle, but you just have your legs wrapped around them and that arm in there. There's just still so many steps just from that position alone to getting to the finished triangle.
Deciding whether to try to break their posture or climb up them, right? Deciding whether to attack their neck or their arm, attack their neck with your hands or attack their arm with your hands. Deciding to switch omoplata, just that one spot, And then there are ways to do all of those things too, And so I just think that is my hot take. Are you going? You take it or leave it?
Leave it because
Leave it. What's harder,
dude? Pressure passing and just
you just suck,
melting
bro.
on dudes.
You just suck. Nah, you're wrong. You're wrong.
No, bro. I mean, I do suck, obviously, for sure. But I think I've seen so many guys just give up on that so fast.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like everybody, if you've been doing jiu-jitsu for 5 or 6 years, you're going to finish a triangle choke somewhere down the line randomly. You can't just like fall into like pressure passing and like melting. Like that is a deep dive study of, I've seen you do it for years, and I feel like I've been working on my passing for, at least a year now, trying that style. And I, like you said, suck at it so badly still.
But to your argument, you said that that it's like someone training for 6 years is going to finish a triangle if they get there. Someone working on guard passing is passing guards. It's just not like they're passing every single guard. And so I get like to a really really high level. I totally agree that weight distribution is much harder to master at a really high level. You're not going to teach somebody that in a week, a month, or maybe you could in a year if that was all you did and you knew everything about it. I don't know. But I couldn't do it in a year, You're
Moneyberg taking private lessons for a year just with Henry Akins or something, spending $30K on pressure pass weight distribution.
Okay,
you could probably learn it in a year then.
I'll say
if you're already good at jiu-jitsu too.
I couldn't teach it in a year, but for $500,000, I could teach it in a year. No doubt about that, Bryce. I'm telling you, bro. But yeah, that is. Yeah. Okay. I see. That's a solid argument against it, but I'm still going that is a general. Let's say the hardest technique, right? And just finishing because we're just talking about finishing the triangle. We didn't talk about setting up the triangle.
Yeah, for sure.
Setting up the triangle is like, hey, hope that your partner sucks. Hope they put one arm in. Hope they don't know that 2 arms in, 2 arms out thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I still think, weight distribution is going to be the.
Okay. Hit us in the comments. Solve the argument for us. Let us know who's right on this one. What's harder to teach, or if something else is much harder to teach than both of those. All right, I got another hot take. Okay. So this one is from a listener, and I just know that you're gonna love this one. Most people who refuse to compete are just afraid to lose.
A lot of the time, yeah. For sure.
That was most people is
Yeah.
it didn't say everybody.
Yeah, most people, yes. I would agree with that.
And I think I would agree with that too. I think that there are definitely people that shouldn't compete, especially because of injury and, just how much time you get to dedicate or whatever. Or, there are reasons that people shouldn't compete, I'm sure. We talked about it with Kyle and Mark when they were on the show. And so I definitely see that there are reasons to not compete. But I would say most of the time, like even when you hear like, oh, but I normally dedicate 6 days a week and I can only do 5, right? Or you just hear something that's like subtle, like it's not anything big, or in especially this, it's like it's hard to see that even in yourself. I think if you are afraid to compete, it's hard to admit that to yourself. I don't think you go like knowing that, but I think the easiest indicator for someone is if they feel like they want to compete, and then every single time they find a reason not to,
The absolute worst thing is when you see very competitive guys in the gym that want to win every round and are good. And yeah, you just know they're competitive, but then they say they don't want to compete because they just don't care, or just whatever reason it is, because that tells me that you might be afraid to compete a little bit.
Tell me more.
I mean, I just told you.
It felt like I don't know. It felt like there was something there, Bryce. I don't know what you're talking about there. You seem like you were calling some people out or something, dude.
I mean, we all know competitive people that don't compete, and obviously it costs a lot of money to compete for most jiu-jitsu people. You don't get to just go do a bunch of tournaments for free, so that's one thing. But I feel like everybody knows competitive people that just don't compete.
I want to just pose one counter argument. What if competing is stupid?
It is very stupid.
It's the
That's not
stupidest
wrong.
thing ever.
Yeah.
I honestly hate that I do it. I wish I didn't, I dream of a day where I don't compete anymore. It's stupid. But again, it's the desire thing. You know, it's like you have that of like, I want to do this. It's not, and I don't think it's healthy if it's because you want something from it that is, I don't know, that is clout based, right? I think that can get really cloudy and that can mess it up for you, right? Because most likely you're going to suck and you're going to lose. But I think if you do it in a way that is experience based, it can be really, really fun,
Yeah, man. I think that's been one of the most fun parts of jiu-jitsu for me. Lost a ton of times, but still just going out there to, see what I've learned. Learning is definitely the most fun because that's where my real goals are.
Have you ever finished a roll and thought, what was I even doing out there? Same. We have all felt that way. And that is why you need Jiu-Jitsu for Imbeciles, a free course from Rob Bernacki that explains Jiu-Jitsu so clearly it makes you wonder how you ever got confused in the first place. I am telling you, it is like a TED Talk for people who suck at Jiu-Jitsu. And that is why they're giving it totally free to I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show listeners. So go to bjjmentalmodels.com/ISuck and download it for free right now before you throw away another roll chasing guillotines from bottom side control.
All right, Josh, I have a hot take of my own that will take us into some listener questions again.
Okay.
I think, and Yeah, I think CJI too is falling apart.
Ooh, see, this is interesting because anything that we say now, we're recording this before. Anything we say now, this is gonna come out,
Well,
when. And so this will come out after. So people will know whether or not we're right about this, right? With what we say. But first, prove your work right now. Current hot take. Why is it falling apart?
well, first,
And what does that mean?
okay. Well, first, I could say I bought CJI 2 tickets as soon as they went on sale. I went last year. It was awesome. And I'm going this year. And I expect it to be a really good event, and I expect it to be very fun while we're there. I just say it's falling apart, and the fact that it was supposed to be when Craig first started to announce this and put this specific event together, it was about we can finally find out who the best team is. And now, like, that can't be the narrative at all anymore because there are some true teams. Daisy Fresh, rooting for them.
There's one true team.
That's a true team.
There's just
I would say so. Brandon's, kind of maybe a little bit out of it, and newer. But
I mean, Brandon.
yeah.
Brandon started there before ADCC last year.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I still consider that a true team for sure. But no, yeah. Then you look at just New Wave for examples. What I've been thinking of recently, just having Wagner on there now. Mika's on there.
Yeah,
Oliveras is one of the guys who he's bounced around a lot recently. Badoni.
I mean, Badoni's been on the team for
a
a long
while.
time.
Yeah, for sure. And Griffith has been there for a while too. But I don't know. It just.
But it's also that's teams in jiu-jitsu, right? Isn't the bounce around? Because it's like, think about this, Bryce. What if one day the podcast was crushing and
bro, we are crushing.
Oh yeah, but you know what I mean, crushing. You know what I mean, yeah, the podcast is doing all right, but yeah, you know what I mean. And we were like, we're gonna finance tag teams having a world title, and we're just gonna pay a bunch of people to be on our team this year. We would be in the stands rooting for those people as if they were our brothers and sisters, Of
course.
And so I get it, but I agree. I think that really, probably to your secret point, Daisy Fresh really is the commendable team here. Do you know what I mean? The only team.
10th Planet's probably, I can't think of their list off the top of my head right now, but I feel like they've got to be pretty true to 10th Planet.
But you also look and you gotta ask, was this because other teams didn't feel like they wanted to, maybe they were asked and didn't want to do it? Because if you're really asking all the best teams, I know this is no-gi and it's a specific rule set, but if you're just going with here are the best jiu-jitsu teams, right? And then you're gonna give wild cards anyway. You're not gonna throw in AOJ.
Yeah, they should definitely be.
Or there isn't some of these huge teams. I'm sure, and again, you just don't know what's happening behind the scenes. My thought is you could have a checkmat team, but obviously the two best checkmat guys would be allowed to do it, right?
Nah, I mean, yeah, it just seems to be like UFC and CJI wouldn't collaborate there.
And so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I could see it, but also, what if all of the guys going to Master Worlds are just doing the thing where they're like, oh man, if I win Master Worlds, then I'm gonna reward myself with CJI, And then they like go and lose in the first round and they're sad and they're eating the triple cheeseburger at In-N-Out.
4x4 animal
Yeah, they're
style,
eating
bro.
the 4x4 animal style. I'm glad we both knew that it was In-N-Out.
Let's go.
We both have lost in Vegas enough times to know where to lose in Vegas. Okay, this episode comes out on Thursday. We gotta move some things around. When you're in Vegas, if you see me and Bryce at In-N-Out,
No.
and we're sad, don't talk to us. But if we have gold medals on, because we'll be at In-N-Out either way.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Then come give Bryce a kiss on the mouth.
Hell yeah.
That is, I don't know where that went, but yeah, like definitely, this is a Thursday of Master Worlds episode, and then we can really speak freely about CJI, because apparently you said you had 2 other questions.
Yeah, from other listeners, but also I wanted to say, not even just because of like the team aspect, but it seems like Craig is, really like, I don't want to say begging people to buy tickets to the event. Like he's saying, like, even if you're not gonna go, support me in this. Like he's like, this is all going to charity anyway, like support this and please buy a ticket. And then also, like, when he first started just doing CJI and kind of going against ADCC, he was, saying that he didn't want to put things behind a paywall and that it should all be free to help grow the sport. And then, maybe he was just absolutely kidding, and I don't know. But then he was also saying that if it doesn't like sell a certain amount of tickets or whatever this year, he is probably gonna have to put it behind a paywall next year. And I imagine that's because they're going to lose money on the event.
Yeah, because the payout is huge.
And there's not going to be someone that is willing to invest as much money next year. So they're probably going to have to find, several investors, or just dial it down in whatever tone, or just put it behind a paywall so that way they know they have all their bases covered. I just think that's
okay.
It's interesting.
On the note, do you think that UFC BJJ is part of that? Do you think that they hurt the event enough with the timing and that, coming out, or no,
I don't think so, because it's not like they have the Tackett brothers. Mason Fowler's really good at jiu-jitsu. Renato Canuto, very good at jiu-jitsu. Mikey. But they don't have, which this kind of leads into someone else's question. But yeah, I just don't know if the UFC has that exclusive of a list yet.
That makes sense.
Dude, like I said, this CJI event is going to be awesome. I cannot wait to go. I'm way more excited to do that than I am to compete.
That's because competing is stupid.
Yeah, competing. Don't ever do it.
That's the least fun part about competing, is the competing part, It's the going to CJI part that's fun.
But yeah.
I'm sure you will talk me into being one of those, middle-aged men that buys a ticket for CJI and goes.
Yeah, you definitely should. It's going to be a really cool event. We're going to see some really high-level grapplers go against each other, and they never should have before. I love the quintet style.
I agree with that.
It's going to be a sick event. I just don't know. I don't know why it's not selling out. I don't know how it didn't sell out way faster, even though the teams weren't announced. Like, I went into it like thinking, because it's jiu-jitsu, people are going to pull out and injuries are going to happen and whatever, but I went into it knowing that, hey, this could be completely different by the time this actually happens, but no matter what, it's going to be awesome. And I still think that for sure.
Okay, that's the go into your question, because I have a follow-up, but go into your question. I'll write it down.
Okay. This is from a listener, and they said, Josh, what are your thoughts on Mikey Musumeci? Claims he's trying to elevate the sport of BJJ with the UFC deal, but then we see him pushing exclusive contracts and aligning with Moneyberg. Craig Jones made a brilliant point in his podcast with DJ. Mikey claims that he wants to be the best, yet has not fought anyone of a name in Nogi. Example, Pato, Baby Shark, etc. Keep up the great work, mate. Been listening since start of the year and always look forward to episodes dropping.
All right. Well, thank you for listening and looking forward to episodes dropping and then putting me in a situation where I'm going to have to publicly shame somebody or say whether or not I approve them. I appreciate it. Keep listening to the show. Give us a 5-star review and a comment, brother. Man, you brought up a lot of good points. I will say this first. I don't know Mikey. I've never met him. My general opinion of people is whether or not I've interacted with them, because it's hard to know. You know, we all get a choice in what we put out on social media and what we put out in media in general. We all get that choice. And I would assume if you're in the public eye as much as he is, he can be choosy about what he puts out, you know, and can maybe, you know, be a different person than who maybe you see. And so, that being said, yeah, I think that there is this thing of like, there is this inherent right or wrong when it comes to, especially when it comes to business. And obviously there are things that are wrong. But we like to, I don't know, we like to just condemn certain things at certain times. And one of them now is, these fighters don't sign exclusive contracts. If the contract is really good for you, why wouldn't you sign an exclusive contract? And you can always make the argument that downstream that is going to get somebody paid more. Somebody is going to eventually be able to use the precedent that you set and be able to negotiate and say, oh, well, I'm a bigger name now. You know, I have, I am a bigger star now. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with him signing an exclusive contract, to be honest. If somebody offered me a lot of money to exclusively represent their brand, and let me do what I am best at and I have trained my whole life for, I think I'll probably do it. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
I can see that for sure. And you will, and the UFC MMA is obviously way more established than UFC BJJ right now, but you'll see, and it's definitely the correct financial career move, because if that's what is important to Mikey right now, because I mean, you'll hear high level MMA guys and even UFC champions say, I'm going to always accept the easiest fight that's given to me. Why? Because I'm looking out at this point in my career, I'm looking for money and to protect my family and establish security for my family. And guys in their career right now have said that, yeah, I'm always going to accept the easiest fight given to me. Why would I accept a harder fight?
Yeah.
When, like I said, but they're already, like Mikey is already established as like one of the greatest. Like he's already a champion. Yeah. And same thing with these UFC guys. These are champions saying this.
Okay. Yeah, I completely agree with you. In like on the sense of like taking the easier fight, right? Some people can't comprehend that because the thought process is it should be about honor, right? Like if you're a competitor, this is about honor, right? And that's why you're doing it, whether it's MMA, whether it's jiu-jitsu, whatever it is. And I think that's a really cool mindset to have. But when it comes to the business side, I don't think it's about that anymore. I think that it's about business. That is, if we decide like, hey, it's not just about training. It's not just about trying to win tournaments. It's about me making money, you know, and me trying to build a brand and become a star. Like, that's not necessarily honor, right? That's not necessarily the same thing. And there's nothing wrong with it. You're building a brand and you're trying to make money, and that makes a ton of sense. And so, yeah, I just think that the mindset though of like it is it's not honorable to compete under an exclusive contract or something like that, or it's not honorable to not look for the hardest fight and the hardest match. Like, you should always be testing yourself and always be pushing yourself. But the truth is, most things that people want to see is not actually who is the best. That really isn't the case. People want, if that was the case, no one would have watched Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, right? That was a prize fight.
Yeah.
It was a fight where a bunch of us agreed, hey, we're just going to pay to watch these dudes fight and then give them that money. That's what it is. It doesn't have to be about more than that. And I think if people looked at, especially when you start to get in the professional side of jiu-jitsu, you just understand like, hey, this is part of jiu-jitsu, but this isn't jiu-jitsu. This isn't all of us being on the mat in the beautiful part of jiu-jitsu that we love. And this isn't the whole thing. This is just part. This is a way I can make money in jiu-jitsu. And I think some guys do look at it that way, and then their decisions are judged so heavily, right? And it's like, how dare you make money in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, and that being said, it'd be sick to see Mikey fight Pato and all those guys in Nogi.
Yes, and of course that's like, you want to see good matchups, but again, it's just like, because it's fun, you know. And
Yeah,
you also want to
yeah.
see the storyline too, though. You never let a white belt run class unsupervised, right? So then why are you, a business white belt, still handling your gym's billing, attendance, signups, and website all by yourself? Kicksite is like having a full-time staff that doesn't eat, doesn't snack, doesn't call in sick. And I've used them for years because the software is built specifically for jiu-jitsu coaches who would rather be chasing the back and not chasing down missed payments. So if you're interested, go to kicksite.com/Josh McKinney and try it for free for 30 days. This is the best software for running and managing your gym that exists. Be sure to check them out at kicksite.com.
Okay, so one more listener question. UFC BJJ athletes will, or I guess this is a hot take, UFC BJJ athletes will not have ability to gain value upon entry without IBJJF, CJI, and ADCC as status builders.
Yeah, so you have to win big tournaments outside of it to get into UFC BJJ, is what he's saying, right?
Yeah,
and so,
I guess so. Or
like,
yeah, that you can't build somebody.
yeah,
I guess.
I mean, that's not what the UFC does. If they follow their model, they're just gonna let everyone else build their people and then pay them, you know, and they're just gonna be way more financially backed. I say they dominate the market that way. That is, I always go with the jiu-jitsu and professional jiu-jitsu is just pro wrestling thing. And that was exactly what Vince McMahon started doing when he took over the WWF from his dad. Was he just started to buy up all of the small places, but then he got so big that he stopped having to do that. His brand was so big, he goes, I'll let these small places exist so they can be training people. And eventually he bought a big one and started, basically made a junior league. And that will probably happen eventually with the UFC BJJ. Like, why wouldn't, if UFC is and has been for a while in the teaching jiu-jitsu business, if you go to the UFC gyms, right? They're in that business. Why won't they just continue to expand into all of the parts of jiu-jitsu that make money, right? And so whether that means that they're going to go, UFC is going to go, oh, well, we can do merchandise, or we can run more schools, or we can do instructionals, or we can run tournaments. We can have our own tournament series. And who wouldn't want a UFC gold medal for jiu-jitsu, right? And so, yeah, I just think that, and this is what my hot take was, and I'm not going to say, I won't give like a harsh opinion on like I think it's good or bad. I've been kind of indifferent to it, but my hot take about UFC BJJ that I wrote earlier today was UFC BJJ will be the top BJJ organization in the world 5 years from now, is where I put it. And I just think that the amount of money that they are already investing in jiu-jitsu, in their brand of jiu-jitsu, I think it's just going to expand, and they just have so much around them already. I'm seeing like, you're seeing the Craig teaming up with Flo and these other people kind of trying to compete against it, which is cool to see. But man, they got a lot of money, bro.
Man, they just got did you see they signed us with the Paramount? I'm pretty sure it's $7.7 billion over the next 7 years, so like $1.1 billion a year for the next 7 years.
Have you ever
I wonder how much of that is going to go to UFC BJJ.
I mean, dude, even 1% of it, like that's $10 million, like in a year, or $11 million in a year. Like that's crazy. Have you ever heard the thing that's like the seconds, millions to billion, like the comparison of seconds?
I mean, no.
So it's like how long is a million seconds?
A million seconds?
Like how long in terms of days?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it was something like 11 days. Okay. How long then do you think a billion seconds is?
I don't know. A long time. A month. I don't know.
Right. And so, yeah, exactly. I mean, that was a horrible guess, but still, it is like 35 years.
Okay.
And so that is the difference between a million and a billion. And so when you think about $1.1 billion a year just from your TV deal, that is crazy. You can be taking crazy experiments. You know what you could be doing if you were UFC BJJ? It would be genius.
Sign Josh McKinney.
No, fund the jiu-jitsu games too, bro.
Oh shit! Yeah, dude, they should definitely. That was gonna be one of my questions eventually. Was when are we doing jiu-jitsu games too?
Bro, when the UFC BJJ funds it.
Someone fund it, man.
Holy smokes. Okay, in all honesty, it was so much work.
It really was.
It really was for the two of us, because that was the only workers that we had.
Yeah.
That was, if you had to put a number on it, how many hours do you think of work it took to put together in the link in the comments, jiu-jitsu games, if you guys have never watched it, the coolest idea ever, that it's only got like 3,700 views.
Yeah.
It's brutal, bro. What are you doing? Come on.
That is brutal. I mean, I appreciate the views though. So
I
thanks
do too.
thanks for watching.
The amount of comments and interaction we got from it.
Yeah, I got a lot of love from that, and that felt really good. Being a part of that.
Bro, I was standing next to, I won't go spoilers, I was standing next to the person that won at the CXBJJ, and people were coming up to him and shaking his hand and being like, hey, you won, congratulations on winning the jiu-jitsu games. And he was like looking at me like with his jaw on the floor. He's like, why are people saying that? I don't know these people. But it was, that was a really cool thing. But man, how many hours do you think you put into it?
Man, I don't know. It took months and months, dude. I mean, for real, like maybe from like a thought to being put out, I don't know, it took like 6 months or so.
Yeah. And towards the end, it was so much work, dude.
Yeah. And things went wrong, but things went great and they went right. I can't wait to do it again. We should definitely do that again, do it a lot better. Yeah, UFC, Flow Grappling, or anybody else. Craig Jones, Secret Investor Funders.
Yeah.
Someone,
Yeah.
any of our other rich friends around, someone invest in the jiu-jitsu games, bro. That could be super cool, man.
Yeah. Remember when Kanye asked Mark Zuckerberg for $1 billion? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Zuckerberg that he asked?
I don't know. Sounds right.
I thought it was. And then remember all the crazy stuff that Kanye did right after that?
Oh, we'll definitely do that.
And in that and during that. I feel like maybe we would have $1 billion if we just did that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
Just
know.
Start asking.
Yeah,
All right.
just be crazy. Like, like just that's branding right there.
Yeah.
Do you got another CJI? I have one more CJI related.
I don't think we have any more CJI stuff now.
Mine is who will win CJI?
Man, I like the new wave a lot better when Big Dan was in.
That's a really good point. Wagner's
Because-
tough though.
Yeah, for sure.
Wagner is tough. He's not like it was not that it wasn't. It's just strategically, it is a big change to lose your monstrously big guy. You
That
know,
can finish people.
that can finish people. Maybe the best finisher of that size. I mean, maybe Victor Hugo, but man, there's a lot of good finishers.
Yeah.
When you look to the last CJI, Nicky Rod was killing everybody in the pit.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that could be, Styles. I think Styles will play into that too. We had talked about you and I a while ago. We're talking about like why people don't play guards in certain ways in MMA. And we were just talking about, man, you have the wall. We move away from the wall in jiu-jitsu, but when you see certain matches in jiu-jitsu, like the Danielle Kelly versus, what was her name? That Danielle kept pinning her against the cage.
Oh, was it Jessica Khan?
Jessica Khan. And that was, and I think that a lot of people had picked Jessica Khan to win by submission in that match.
Yeah, a lot of people picked her for sure.
And it was, I think that jiu-jitsu's different when you add that other dimension, especially when you're playing guard, because scooting away does not have the same effect. You run out of real estate at some point. And we set up so much of our guard stuff by scooting away and then making the person open up by trying to get closer to us again. And so, yeah, there are some people that are going to be super duper high level at this. You know what I mean? Like that are going to be super high level. So it's tough to say, but man, how do you bet against New Wave with Mika?
Yeah, he could definitely take out at least a couple of the teams probably completely himself, I think. I'm not going to say who, but I think he probably could. I think, though, who's actually going to win? Atos has a very good chance of winning. New Wave still has, a very good chance of winning. You know who I think would be the coolest to see to win?
Daisy Fresh.
Yeah, Daisy Fresh.
No doubt. I mean,
I think it'd be super cool to
there
see
is
those guys win.
there is no doubt that we won't be going nuts when they, pull out the upset.
Yeah, man. Hopefully they can do it.
But the question was, who's gonna win, Bryce?
Yeah,
Tell us. Okay, here's a better question. Should you and I right now make a bet on who's gonna win?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should. So we obviously have to pick different teams. I know who I would pick. I have two teams I'll pick. So
Okay.
Unless you don't pick either of them, then I might be struggling. But and it's
know.
obviously Team Europe. But go ahead. Do you know who you got?
Yeah.
Do we know what the bet is?
No. What should we establish that first?
I don't know. What would be funny?
Shave
your eyebrows?
Last time we did a bet, remember we did the
10 out of 10. You're right.
The at the Chicago Open, whoever lost the bet had to win a shirt with that the other person made, and it ended up being just like that. I made a shirt that said it was my face on there, and it said Josh McKinney's favorite student, and you gave me a shirt that I'm pretty sure it said I love Josh McKinney, and it was your face.
But you didn't have to wear it because Connor's leg freaking broke, bro.
Connor's leg broke, and I think he was gonna go down either way.
No, he was not, Bryce.
But
he was gonna come back, bro. He was getting deep into the fight. He's a warrior. No. He was gonna come back. You were gonna be wearing that stupid shirt that I made.
He was thinking about his DMs, dude.
Dude, that was the greatest. Breaking his leg in half. This isn't over. Your wife was in my DMs.
Wasn't he shooting a gun or something?
He was doing
on the way
He was
out?
like doing a shotgun or something.
I feel like
dude,
stretch it out.
Yeah,
just hilarious.
What an entertainer, dude. Oh my gosh. That was, even though I lost the bet that night, that was so entertaining. That's what I want to see. Listen, on the note of prize fight, I want to see Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor at the UFC
White House
main
UFC
event, bro.
White House.
Who cares about who's the best in the world right now in this 2-month window? Because 2 months from now, half of those champions are going to be gone. You know, it's like the fight game is brutal. You just like, you're at the top and then you're losing 3 or 4 fights in a row, you know? Mm-hmm. And I just, show me fights that are fun. Show me fights that are interesting, you know? And that is something that you got to go with CJI that they are doing, is the idea of your 66 kilogram guys fighting your plus 99 guys is awesome. The open class is one of the most interesting parts of jiu-jitsu to somebody who's never heard about jiu-jitsu competition, I think. When you talk about that and somebody says, hey, like white belts come in all the time, like, hey, I just heard about this thing. It's called the open class. Like, what happens? And I'm like, yeah, we used to call it the absolute, bro. And like, that's even crazier, you know? But you just fight everybody your belt. I'm like, but what if they're 300 pounds? Well, then you try to get on top. Like, I don't know what else. You just try to win against that guy. But that's one of the most fun parts of jiu-jitsu, and that is definitely something that CJI is capturing. So we're going, bet is the t-shirt thing?
No, we can do that. That was just
That was a great bet, because that would be something.
We'd have to do it at the St. Louis Open would be the next tournament that we go to after that.
Or CJI. Oh, no. We won't know.
Yeah.
We that night, on the last night of CJI, loser shaves his eyebrows, bro. I mean,
all right.
There's no, I don't want to do that. That sounds, what if I'm wrong? I'm not that confident in my pick. Okay, next we'll do something. We can do the t-shirt thing at the St. Louis Open. Something embarrassing at the t-shirt or at the St. Louis Open that we will decide before CJI happens. Okay. Yeah. Off camera, and it will be shave eyebrows. But go go ahead and tell me your pick.
I think that the B team, I think B team's gonna win.
So yes, let's absolutely do the shave your eyebrows bet. Let's absolutely. I'm so in. Let's do shave your eyebrows.
Why are you so confident, dude?
Because that was not one of my teams. B team. I mean, I love B team. I will be rooting for B team, but you think that they're gonna beat Atos? Atos.
They could.
Are you serious? New wave Atos? Man, I don't know. I'm going with. It's between New Wave and Atos, obviously.
Yeah.
Darn it, B team does have Victor Hugo, don't they?
Yeah.
You're right. Holy smokes.
And Nicky Rod won the whole thing last year.
And Nicky Rod won the whole thing last year.
Chris
and he
Wojcik's
gets on people. Chris Wojcik will submit a lot of people. You will tell anyone who doesn't do their research is going to get Woj locked.
Oh, yeah.
Is going to be in 50-50 and eat that.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, that is okay. It's a strong team. I can't go against. So as an IBJJF guy,
Ooh.
even though, you know, I've said some things about Brazilian culture
No,
on the show
they
that
love you, man.
aren't always the most polite. But I'm going with Atos.
I mean, it's a solid pick.
Lock it in. Atos with Felipe Pena. Atos with Felipe Pena. The only guy to beat Gordon Ryan in like 100 years. And he did it twice.
They're tough, man.
Come on, bro. With Kynan. Because remember, you said, oh, Nicky Rod, he won CJI. But who won?
ADCC.
Who won Open Class? You know?
Kynan.
But me and Jeff were talking about it the other day. We were playing scenarios, different matchups on each team against Daisy Fresh. And it was like, if this guy had this guy, and then Pixley could darce this guy, and then this guy could this guy, and like, yeah, they'd definitely win that round, you know? And so we had the secret pick of, you know, the bet we would both love to lose would be Daisy Fresh, right? Like, is that, are we showing our hand in that?
What do we do if
We both have to shave our eyebrows at the St. Louis Open if Daisy Fresh wins. Lock it in.
I wasn't gonna say
Lock
that.
it in.
I was gonna say if neither of our teams win, like now if New Wave wins or something like that.
Well, then we'll make the punishment possible for both of us. You just get punished for. There is no victory for winning. There
Okay.
is only punishment for losing.
Okay.
How it should be.
Okay. Are you gonna compete at the St. Louis Open?
Yeah,
Or are you just gonna coach?
Why are you asking my business, bro? Yeah,
Well,
I'm gonna compete.
we're
Are
a
you
few
gonna
weeks
compete at
away.
the St. Louis Open?
Yeah, of
Dude,
course.
what are you talking about? I have Master Worlds right now as this podcast is coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
But yeah, before that, chill. Let me get these 5-6 matches in first, brother.
Okay.
Take it easy. But yeah, I'll do St. Louis Open. And that'll be a really fun one. But man, I'm gonna have to do it without eyebrows. That's gonna suck. Oh, that's gonna be brutal. I am a man betrayed by the art that he loves. My name's Josh McKinney, and as most of you know, I've been cursed with the burden of fixing jiu-jitsu. With your help, we're gonna heel hook the fake black belts, every single one of them. Those mat bullies that you're dealing with, we're gonna pressure tap them. In Reddit BJJ, we're burning it to the ground unless they allow me to post my podcast episodes and quit deleting them. But I can't do this alone. Every like, every comment, every 5-star review, it fuels the mission, it powers the algorithm, and honestly, it keeps me from turning to the dark side and opening a karate school in a strip mall between a CBD store and Spencer's Gifts. So if you believe in better jiu-jitsu, review the podcast, do it for the future, do it for the children, but most importantly, do it so you never have to hear someone say "os" ever again. This was from a listener on my Instagram, and they said, it's embarrassing to be in the DMs of one of your girl training partners to hit on them. Shots fired. That is, I ask for the hottest takes of this year, and that's one of the hottest takes that I've heard. That is scorching. People are turning off. People are pulling to the side of the road and throwing their phones out of their cars so they don't have to listen to the show anymore. People are furious, bro. What do you got? What do you got? Listen. Okay, let me start with this. What if you aren't trying to hit on them?
If you're not trying to hit on them, then definitely it's okay to just message somebody with a.
But then what if
Something, I don't know.
you're not trying to hit on them and then they hit on you and you're like, oh no, but then you're like, oh, I've never even thought of you that way. I actually am madly in love with you. What about that?
Then hell yeah, dude.
Oh, that's okay too. But
Let's-
it's wrong to go in with the blind intention that you're going to pick them up by hitting on them.
Wait, say that again.
Like, so it's wrong to go in and say, like, to send a message on Instagram to a girl that you train with so like with the intention of eventually dating her. You're playing the nice guy game.
No, that's not
You know,
wrong.
ha ha ha, you're so funny.
No.
LOL, you always make me laugh. Man, you have such a good sense of humor. You know, the stuff that guys say.
No, dude. As long as you're not being a douche about it,
Okay, so
I don't
that's-
think there's anything wrong with messaging somebody if you have interest in them. But then you just have to be man enough to, like, if that person is respectfully, or even if they are like pretty rude about it and they're like, hell no, I can't believe you would message me. You just have to be man enough to, like, all right, that's the end of that. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't go beyond that. It doesn't have to be anything else beyond that. Like, you're taking that risk if you're shooting that shot.
But then here is the because these questions that I'm asking are from the perspective of a married jiu-jitsu coach. And so I don't need to be messaging, you know, I don't need to be sliding into any DMs hitting on anybody. So I'm just asking the rules, right? And so is it like, do you have to have been, does old girl have to have been vibing you? Is what I'm saying. Like, or are you saying that white belt on day one walks through the door, you check on the sign up sheet what she signed her name as her waiver, you follow her on Instagram, you then message her and say, hey, if you would like to get any private lessons, I would be happy to help you in any way, completely free. Winky face. Is that wrong?
There could be a line crossed.
That
there.
feels questionable, right?
feels
And
a
so
little
here's my thing
questionable.
is where is that line of, like, for me, the general thought has always been the simplest way to stay drama-free at your gym is to not date your teammates. If you love to date jiu-jitsu people, date them from other gyms. There's gyms everywhere. You know, like,
I mean, that's definitely a good way to keep drama out of your gym because, I mean, yeah, obviously a lot of relationships are going to fail. So, but I mean, yeah, dude, if someone's vibing and you feel like they have interest in you, then yeah, there's nothing wrong with reaching out to that person. If I definitely don't think you should just be shooting your shot with day one white belts.
Okay.
Maybe let them cook a little bit. You know?
let them get that first stripe. You know, once they have that first stripe, you're like, okay, you know, they're of jiu-jitsu age now. You know, like they're in it. They've been in it long. They're committed. You know.
But no, dude, there's got to be so many relationships that have worked out there.
And that is so true too, is that there are a ton of marriages that have happened that would have only happened because of connections made at their gyms.
Yeah, even when someone, like, I don't know, didn't put themselves out there first and someone just approached them, I guarantee that there's a lot of successful jiu-jitsu relationships out there like that.
And that's true, but man, it's just not that you should go in thinking about the breakup. But okay, so they say in a business partnership, when you have a contract, or you should have a contract in a business partnership, and the contract is more about rules of breaking up. And like, this is what would happen if we both left, you know, if one of us left, if one of us didn't fulfill our duties or whatever, right? And that is also like, that is also like when you go into a relationship, you kind of can have that thought of like, you know, man, if I'm dating my sister, it's going to be really awkward if we break up at family gatherings, right? You know, and like, so there's a level of closeness to home that is.
I hate when that happens.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was so dumb. That was such a bad analogy. But I don't even know where I was going with that. But you know, like if you are dating somebody in your gym and you guys do break up, are you both gonna be mature enough that it's just cool? You know?
Most people probably not.
And then, are you going to be, and even so, like, are you going to be mature enough when you guys break up, you're training together, everything's cool, and then your ex starts dating somebody new, bringing them to jiu-jitsu,
Yeah, that would suck.
teaching them jiu-jitsu. They get their first stripe, like, what do you do then? So I just think if you are looking in terms of like less drama, that's like the best way to get less drama is to not date so close in your gym, in my opinion. And obviously, in this situation, like I said, my opinion is pretty valueless. But this is just from my perspective.
I think the best and easiest way to avoid drama in the gym is to ban girls from coming to your gym. And that
good
kind
hot
of
take.
leads me into the next question we got. It was from a lady. She said, "How do I get taken seriously as a coach if I'm a smaller woman?"
Ooh, that's a super good question. I think that is the... Okay, I have a few angles for this. I'll start with the wildest one first. One, what if you just didn't care at all about getting taken seriously from guys? And you just said, hey, the guys that are mature enough to just see and understand that jiu-jitsu is jiu-jitsu, they will take me seriously. But the ones who don't, I really couldn't care less. And then you went total focus on helping other girls. And the reason I've been having this, I've had that thought a few times. I wish that I could invite women on the podcast and Bryce not nix the idea.
They're banned.
Yeah, because he hates women. But and so I could actually talk to a girl and have this conversation. But I really think that it would be an interesting thought with how there are more female black belts than ever. Of course, there's more every type of black belt than ever. But there's so many more female black belts than ever. But still, when you look at the percentage, there are way less girls training. And so when it comes to sharing your jiu-jitsu, I think if you're a female black belt, you have this corner on the market of not yet customers, like customers that will be coming into jiu-jitsu as it continues to be more female friendly. But the best way for it to be more female friendly, I think, is for females to be like, hey, you know what we don't need at our gym is men. And, it would keep our drama way down at our gym. And it would honestly, it makes to me so much sense that if I was, and I think about being a female all the time, and I'm like, if I was a female black belt, I think that I would open, unless like, of course, my husband trained or something, I wouldn't want him to have a male only school or something. We could run that together and I could have a women's program. But if I was like, just the only black belt in my, in my family, and I wanted to do something making jiu-jitsu, I don't think I would make an open for everybody, jiu-jitsu's for everybody school. I would say, hey, jiu-jitsu's for every guy at every freaking school, but this place, we don't care about that. It is just for girls. And I think that, I don't know, I just think that would be a really good, I think that would be a really good branding opportunity for a girl. So maybe an answer is don't even worry about it. But that's not always a fair answer. And so like, because not feeling like you're not getting taken seriously is really frustrating. I remember when I was doing personal training, and I started my certification like the second I got done. I want to say I might have even started my certification before I got out of high school. But by the time I graduated, I had my hours in and I was ready to be my own personal trainer. And we got this account that I was training for the first time a bunch of people at like this corporation. And so it's like 30 people a day, 3 times a week. So it is probably like 60, 70 different people that I'm having to sell on personal training for the first time. And I had went to school and gotten reps and I was starting to become knowledgeable. Of course, I was still learning how to do it. But I definitely had a lot more knowledge than most of the fat people that were like, you don't know what you're doing. You're only 18. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? You can't walk up the stairs. What are you like? How are you going to hit me with this? And so it can be very frustrating though, to be in a field and just to not be taken seriously. I think that one of the best practices in that case is you kind of surround yourself with the people that do take you seriously. And I know that's again the same, that's like the conceptual part of, hey, just start a women's only school. But I really think that some people people that, here's my thought. If somebody, from your perspective, if they don't respect your view of jiu-jitsu as a female black belt, if some guy does that, do you really care about that guy enough to want to change his view? I know we want to get respect and we want to be respected among peers. But I mean, read the comments of the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show. Just blanket respect is not there. It is not going to happen. And, a lot of people that I'm sure I could tap with pressure are saying things to me on social media, on YouTube comments that are wild, and honestly, I just don't even think about them. A lot of the times I will just delete their comments if they're too stupid. I'll just be like, I don't even want to deal with this person again. And because it's still art. I don't know. I think it's still it's people's right, whether or not they hate us or whether or not they respect us or whatever. They can do whatever they want. But it is our right to choose to not care about that. And that's sometimes the only thing that we have besides just stay in it, just keep getting reps, just keep getting better, get so much better that no one can deny that you are a great teacher and a great coach. I remember one of my brown belts was getting ready. Like, he was definitely skill-wise a black belt. But at the time, I think I had just gotten my black belt. So I was not in a situation where I could promote him. I had to go through my coach. And it was at an earlier time, and this was whatever, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And so it was a little harder to get the black belt then, I would say. It was just a little less, the pool wasn't so deep, right? And so at that time, though, I asked him, I was trying to give him a chance to do a tournament as a brown belt. And I said, hey, are you frustrated? I always would have these conversations with students. Like, are you frustrated that you didn't get your black belt or you don't have a black belt yet? And would you be frustrated if it wasn't for 6 more months that you had a black belt? And he goes, no, not at all, dude. Don't worry about it at all. I go, really? Why? He goes, honestly, I'm not saying this to tell you anything. He's like, I'm just telling you something and I'm just being honest with you. He's like, a lot of people that I roll with are like, hey, why won't Josh give you your black belt? You should be a black belt. And I go, yeah, you're right. A lot of people tell me that too. Why don't you give him his black belt? And he goes, but my thought process was always like, I'm just going to get so good that everybody else wears Josh out telling him about how great I am. I'm not even going to worry about me doing it myself. I'm just going to focus on getting better. And sometimes the only thing we can really choose is our focus. And so, yeah, I think that. And then Bryce's answer is you shouldn't be allowed to train jiu-jitsu.
I can't believe we're still talking about it.
Man.
No, I'm kidding.
Should we hit people with the female statistic? Because there's no way it's true.
No.
There's no way.
I mean, yeah, of course. With the
Okay.
question.
Okay. So when you look at statistics on podcasts and on YouTube and stuff like that, they give you obviously how many viewers you get and stuff like that. And they give you certain demographics. And Bryce and I aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. And so we've never realized how to, on YouTube, look specifically at how many views the podcast is getting and not just because we post other videos and do our analytics from that. So we find this way of doing
have
it.
to admit that.
And then listen, we're just telling the whole story. We're giving the whole picture. And then, because I really do, if anyone is still listening, we need to prove this wrong, Bryce. But we could be totally wrong on this. And so on YouTube, it claimed that we have a lot of people that listen to the podcast, and we absolutely freaking love you guys. You guys are awesome. Please keep listening to the podcast. 5-star review, comment, all that crap. But apparently 0% of you are women is what YouTube statistic claims. Of the thousands of views, there is not a single, because it's like 0.00%. That can't be true. So if you are a woman who watches on YouTube, please give us a comment. If not, Bryce's evil plan is working, and I'm going to just do a Women in Jiu Jitsu Awareness Month or something behind his back, do all Zoom interviews.
Or some people could like switch their, I don't know if there's a way in like your settings on YouTube profile to like switch your gender to female.
Oh, do you think that it just automatically?
I don't know.
But I mean, don't worry about your YouTube side. Just give us a comment if you are.
Yeah, comment.
Yeah,
But what if it's a dude that is just saying he's a chick, but he's not a chick?
I don't know. I don't know how I'm supposed. Do you want to judge? Are you gonna be the?
Send us a picture, please.
Are you gonna,
Josh at simplifyingjiujitsu.com.
No, I don't. Please don't. Please, I would really.
And so
I would rather you not.
And so we know it's real, and that you took the picture because you're listening to the podcast. Put like a shoe on your head.
Just
or
comment.
Something.
Comment. Just comment if you're a female. Remember when you said, I can't believe we're still talking about this? Okay. Here, do you have any hot takes? I got one.
Go for it, yeah.
BJJ is extremely watered down like karate.
I don't think yet.
I agree.
It could be on its way, you know?
But what does that even mean? What does that mean that it's watered down like karate?
I think that would be in the sense that just how many schools there are now, and like maybe there are a lot of high-level belts and black belt people out there that some people would, in their perspective, say shouldn't have that colored belt because they didn't go through the rigorous or whatever crazy training that they went through. But I think that it will, as long as MMA is around and that the UFC is around, it's never going to be quote unquote watered down, because it's proven every single weekend and every single week when you're just looking at MMA in general, and every day, that jiu-jitsu is a critical aspect of fighting, hand-to-hand combat. Like if it's hand-to-hand combat, punches, kicks, if that's what you guys are fighting, grappling and jiu-jitsu is essential, and I think it will always be, because it has been since the beginning of time. There's nothing has
hit us with the beginning of time.
Karate has not been a major part of the growth of MMA, especially because you introduce jiu-jitsu to MMA the past 30, 40 years. That's the most it's ever grown over thousands of years as well. You know what I mean? Is in this last specific 30, 40 years that jiu-jitsu has been a major part of that.
A worldwide thing. And I think that's a really good point, is jiu-jitsu's usefulness is undeniable. I think, and I say this all the time when it comes to the prediction, but I think jiu-jitsu is not going to be watered down in a sense that every single person is doing jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not all the same. Not every Brazilian jiu-jitsu school that you go to is the same experience. Even in your hometown, if there's 10 schools, you probably have 10 completely different experiences, you know? And it's just, it's to each their own. If you want a more traditional, like very martial arts, this is the way type experience, there should be places for you to get that experience. When you think about how much dumb crap there is for us to be able to, that we're allowed to buy, why shouldn't you be allowed to buy the martial arts experience version of jiu-jitsu? But on that note, you should also be able to buy the Sans martial arts experience version of jiu-jitsu that is just jiu-jitsu, learn to grapple, right? And you should be able to buy the self-defense version of that too. And I think we will eventually get more to that as the market just gets so much more saturated, because that's how branding works. Is you got to separate yourself if there's a lot of people around you, you know? And so, yeah, it is, we talked about earlier how Mikey hasn't fought certain guys in Nogi, but he's branded himself in a way that when the UFC decided to sign for BJJ, they said, hey, this is our champion, you know? Like, and they didn't ask these other guys that you said he hasn't fought in Nogi. And so I think that branding plays such a big role in any business. And I think in the jiu-jitsu business, it's going to continue to play like a monstrous role. And that is going to be branding for a specific thing, you know, branding your way for a specific thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go one more hot take each.
Okay. I have this one, but okay, I'll say if you've been a brown belt for more than 2 years, your coach probably hates you.
Oof. For more than 2 years. Are you training consistently?
That's what I was about to say. The caveat is, or you don't train consistently.
Those are probably the two reasons.
Yeah, which is often for people, as you know, they get.
Which is interesting too. And I'm sure that there are places that are still like this, but brown belt used to be a long belt also. I really feel like when the IBJJF started to release the like, hey, this is the minimum time requirement, and then they put you only need a year at brown belt, I think that's what changed brown belt. Dude, I was a brown belt for a minute.
Bro.
I was a brown belt for a long time.
Once again, Kyle probably hated you though.
No. There were hundreds of guys that were also brown belts with me, you know, and still are brown belts now, you know.
You didn't train with your coach a lot at brown belt though, right? I mean, I'm sure you guys trained a lot together, but like, I don't know, you were also doing your own thing. So do you think Kyle like looked at you like in a different?
No, so I would still do twice a week at Kyle's. It was just open mats, but Kyle was always there. We would train together. And so for Kyle, it was always trying to, because I started so young, he didn't want to rush me to higher belts as a competitor, because especially back then, because like I get my blue belt and Kyle is a high level fighter, unbelievably good at jiu-jitsu, because that was the standard back then. But like, he may have just gotten his brown belt when I got my blue belt. And so like a month before, we were a belt away from each other. And so my next promotion was going to be, I'm going with this guy who at the time had 12 years experience, you know? And so it was crazy that, you know, the 8 to 10 to 12 years experience purple belt was a normal thing, you know? It was just like, yeah, it's just the standard. People would be like, oh yeah, 12 years is how long it takes to get a black belt. I know so many people that were way longer than 12 years and were consistent training. And so, yeah, I just think that when they standardized that though, and they said, hey, you only need 2 years at blue belt, you only need a year and a half at purple belt, and you only need a year at brown belt, I think people started to go, okay, minimum time requirement means the best guys in my gym are going to be promoted at that rate. And then the guys that aren't as good as them, you know, they usually set precedent. The guys that aren't as good as them are going to get promoted at a slower rate.
So is jiu-jitsu watered down, bro?
Is the belt system silly? Is that your question?
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I mean, and this is, I think there's a lot of people that are wanting to get a black belt, and I completely respect that. I think that is not a wrong thing to care about. You know, that is an awesome accomplishment, and still it is incredibly hard, you know, and it's just hard to be consistent at anything for a long period of time. And I really think you can use it to better yourself, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. But I also think you can let it rule jiu-jitsu for you and ruin jiu-jitsu for you too.
Definitely. And that was my last hot take for a reason, because it sucked. So could be a bad purple belt hot take. I'm sorry.
I think that was a good hot take, honestly. I think that is there are definitely there are definitely people who, for sure, and I'll name 0 names ever. You couldn't, not even on a late night episode would I tell the secrets of my homies, but I have definitely known people to not want to promote people ever because they were their consistent students, paying them month in, month out, but they just didn't like them. And honestly, I get it. It's like it that would be hard to be like, hey, this person stands for everything that I'm against, you know, and I'm gonna promote them, you know, to black belt. I would rather promote somebody who sucks, you know, than be like, oh, this person is the most obnoxious person in every room and people just don't like them. And I'm going to be sending them off with a black belt and my patch on their back. You know, I see that. But I won't rat anybody out who's done that. Obviously, I'll never promote you, but
Yeah, probably not.
But like you said, you don't care. So It's perfect. It's a match made in heaven. So my last one is, I got 2 I could go with, but I think I'm going to go with, I shouldn't finish with this one. I just switched it. Okay. I liked this one and it was an interesting thought. Danaher isn't even a top 5 jiu-jitsu coach in the world right now.
That's retarded.
Ooh, tell me, why do you say that?
Bro, I mean, look at his team. I mean, Kingsway or whatever it's called is a thing now, but like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how
Okay, the question would be then, who are the 5 better coaches?
Yeah, I would need some examples
that you
for
could
sure
make a true argument. Who are the 5 better coaches than John Danaher? If someone can make a comment, drop it in the comments and let us know. But I don't. Let's say you could go with, in the same vein of why you say that Danaher is the best, is, he has the best guy, right? Like that's one of the simplest things. But then not only that, he has a lot of great guys that have won their highest, you know, in their weight class, also been the best. But on that same note, maybe you could say Melky Goval. You could say Mika's dad. He has produced, obviously, Mika, Baby Shark, Fabricio Andre came from there, and he had those guys from kids being insanely good at jiu-jitsu by the time they were 19, ready to compete at adult black belt and win at the highest level of adult black belt. And so let's say you could make that argument. That's 1. Let's say 2, you could make Andre Goval argument, because when we're doing accomplishments of students, Andre Goval's got a lot of great accomplishments of students.
Yeah.
You know, there is no doubt to that. 3,
Key Mendes.
Guy Mendez. Okay. This is good.
Guy, though,
This is good. Okay. So yeah, we're just throwing every coach that there is now to be able to make an argument. So Guy Mendez, again, best guy in his division, doing his thing. You have that, and then body of work, amazing body of work. Then you've got, do you have who was Marigali's coach? Was it Mario Hayes? A lot of people say that he's unbelievable coach. A lot of people say Murillo, unbelievable coach. Obviously, we're going more gi, but you look at the Murillo tree of people that have been under him, especially just under him at a point, you know, like, and that's part of being a coach at a high level too, is guys wanting to follow you, you know. But while competing under Unity, Murillo has had some amazing teams. And people always reference him as like one of the best coaches to have in your corner yelling for you.
Yeah, Murillo's coached against me a couple times, and I've gotten my ass kicked a couple times.
Dude, could you just have won those matches for me? You know what he did to me. So it's like my only chance would be you winning. And
I'll come back, bro.
okay, good. I'm glad you're coming back. We're pressure tapping them.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, that is okay. So that's 4, and I'm working hard.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
Give me.
I don't know.
Heath Pedigo.
I mean, I think it's a great coach, but
Dante wins ADCC. Andrew has won 2nd at Nogi Worlds. Did he win Nogi Worlds?
I think he won, or was it?
Did he? I
Pan?
know he won Nogi Pans for sure. Black belt adult Jacob Couch has beaten a ton of super high level guys. Michael Pixley beat Nicholas Marigali.
Yeah.
Man,
had Mikey on the team.
listen. Here's the question though: if you ask those 5 guys, "Hey, are you a better coach than John Danaher?" What do you think they all 5? Do you think all 5 are like, "Oh yeah"?
I don't think all 5
Yeah.
would say that.
I'm curious as who are, if, in my opinion, I'm not taking this one. I'm going that no doubt to me, Danaher is in one of the 5 best coaches in the world. And one of my biggest reasons is some of the people that are considered the best coaches in the world call John Danaher the best coach in the world.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he didn't just do it in jiu-jitsu. He had the best guys in MMA. You know, he was GSP's coach and obviously one of them. And that is, you know, like, he has been doing this for so long and he has been amazing for so long. He's been in the public eye a lot more now. But man, I have trouble taking it, Bryce.
Yeah, dude's a legend.
Dude is a legend.
I'd say, yeah, to not be in the top 5 is a crazy statement.
Yeah, and that is, yeah, I'm going with he is in the top 5, and obviously number 6 is Bryce Allen,
Yes, sir.
producer of the ISAJJ Jiu-Jitsu show. Thanks for coming in and producing the hot takes. If you guys liked Bryce, I've asked you for so many comments, but give us a comment. Let us know. If you liked having Bryce here to say way more offensive stuff than I ever just say in here by myself. We would love to keep doing it, but you got to let us know. Besides that, have a great day. And do you want to tell them about the Suck Less at Jiu-Jitsu part? Do you know the closing line?
I hope today's episode has made you suck just a little bit less at jiu-jitsu.
It's close enough.